I didn't know what I should have worn. I almost came in drag, and then I was like, no.
This is you.
It's
gay
me.
cowboy, non-binary pussy.
Yeah, they, them, the house down, boots.
Mama. I would have.
My Uber driver. Okay, okay, I was FaceTiming with Monet, and
exchange.
And yeah,
this my audience isn't like Drag Race.
Okay, Monet, she's like this local queen, and I all of a sudden smelled just the worst. Like
Monet farted.
Yeah, and it came through the phone.
No, you were on the phone.
No. My Uber driver, and I was like, oh my God. And I still gave him 5 stars because, you know, we all have the toots.
Because you're white and you have like, there's probably something like traumatic that happened where you're like, you did me wrong and I'm still
going to pay you.
Gonna
like
pay you full price and give.
I tipped it.
You did me mildly wrong and I'm going to get a coupon and a comp to me.
You do me wrong, I will pay you.
Let's like actually start. That was so fun. Y'all are probably like, what the fuck? Who is this? Well, if you don't know, I am Dev Doe. You should know that by now because this is possibly the 3rd episode of season 1, unless I change my mind about order. You never know how it goes. But I'm so excited to welcome my next guest. This diva is the one who gave me my... What is so fucking funny, bitch?
I just love you so much.
Let me get your intro out.
I just love really you cute. So much.
Shut up. Oh my God. So this... Marty, please.
Okay,
intro. No, I gave it away.
Intro.
Okay. Today's guest is proof that politics can be glamorous. Drag is powerful. And being loud, because she is a loud-ass bitch, is sometimes exactly what the world needs. Marti Gould Cummings, plural. Sometimes I think it's coming.
Well, that's
I don't need help.
Yeah.
Is a non-binary. Are you still non-binary?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Is a non-binary drag artist, activist, and all-around icon who's done everything from singing at brunch to running for office. Sometimes in the same week. Can you believe? This bitch has gone viral, spoken truth to power in full beat, and managed to make civic engagement sexy. I didn't write that. Okay, we're getting into everything today. We're going to talk about how you grew up, becoming Marti, and how you are changing the world one continent at a time.
Yeah. Are you still non-binary? Is sending me.
You have to ask these times.
I know, people. Yes, I know.
I thought you might have went full-on T-girl woman fantasy.
Hey, it could happen.
Maybe not today, but...
Maybe not today.
Maybe like... Let me not get too problematic 5 seconds in. But you're also the girl who gave me my first weekly. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah. You kind of like changed my life.
Work. Well, you're really fucking talented and you deserve every weekly. So I would do it again. Okay. Well, 3 days a week.
3. I think a cute 2, but with a nice booking fee would be ideal.
That is ideal. That's like the goal, right?
Like less, but impactful.
Impact more.
I
need
to show you my actual face.
Yeah.
For the people that
I'll wear them.
Aren't watching. For the people that aren't watching, I had sunnies on, and now I am lashless and ready and to
stunning.
Dive. You think I'm still stunning?
Yeah, Dev, I think you're one of the prettiest people I've ever met in my life. I tell that to literally everybody.
Wait, say that to the camera?
Dev Doe is one of the prettiest people I've ever met in my life, and I will tell that to every single person I ever meet. And if you don't follow, support, give money to, and go to see Dev Doe, then what the fuck are you doing with your life? Why are you even existing if you're not supporting Dev Doe?
I think we can end right there.
Boom, podcast done.
Thank you all so much. No.
But that's all true. I mean all of that, though.
It's absolutely true, and I totally agree with everything that you said. But I want to learn more about you.
Okay.
For the listeners that don't know you, Marti,
I don't know why we're so giggling. Okay.
Can you introduce yourself? Like, how would you describe yourself just in an elevator pitch, Martisha?
I'm Marti Cummings, and I, as of this day, am still a they, them. Thank you, Dev, for highlighting.
I'm so happy. Happy Pride.
I don't know. How do you describe? I don't know how to describe myself. I'm a drag queen. I'm a drag artist. I've been doing drag full time as my full job for 16 years, for a really long time. I work and you know, I'm in politics. I try to use drag as a way to like educate people about stuff that's going on and also educate myself in the process. And I think drag should be fun and uplifting and informative. And I think the world
I'm
is
bored.
Okay. I don't know. You said it.
I know. I totally agree.
Sorry.
I
Oh
was
God.
Like, oh my God.
I'm boring you.
No, you're not boring me. But I said, girl, okay, cool. We get it. What was it?
I'm done.
What was it like growing up? Where'd you live? How was your family? What was that like?
Okay, I grew up in Maryland.
I know, that's crazy. I also grew up.
Wait, where in Maryland are you from?
Harford County.
Oh, work. I'm from Kent County, which is really trash. I mean it's cute now. I like threw the first Pride.
The first brick.
I threw the first brick in Chestertown, Maryland. Yeah. I threw the first Pride event they ever had there, which was really kind and really cool.
Was it the last?
No, they've now like merged with another one. Yeah, like a bigger one that like has like resources, whatever. But
it's like a major thing.
Yeah, but you know, it's like really conservative and it's really country and it's really rural and you know, like
religious.
Was I religious?
Like your family?
No, like I went to a Catholic school, but like I wasn't. It's because my mom was like a teacher, and so they wanted me to have like a private school education, but they couldn't afford it. So my mom was a teacher at a private school, so I was able to go.
Yeah.
But my parents like couldn't like have afforded that without that. But I wasn't religious. No, my parents are pretty chill. Like my parents are my biggest supporters. They're like front row of all of my like shows that they come to. They like march in the parades. They go to protests. They've gone to protests with me. Yeah, they're really supportive. My one brother is really supportive. The other brother I don't really have like a tight relationship with, but like
because of like gender. Or...
No, I just it's like complicated, right? Like my brother and I don't know. We have like a complicated relationship. Like I love him obviously, but he struggles with addiction. I've been sober for 14 years, and it's just really hard. It's really hard to be around somebody who just like. There's nothing I can do to help,
Yeah, it's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch, yeah.
Especially when you know.
When you know, like, it's like, this is what you can do. Yeah, so we have, like, a complicated relationship. But my family's super chill.
So, like, growing up, were you, like, bullied? Was it difficult? It seems like you had a really supportive, white-ass environment.
It was a very white-ass environment, yes. It was, yes. It was a white-ass environment. Supportive, yeah. But, like, like, I was, like, I had, like, when I was a kid, like, I had, like, okay, so I don't talk about this, like, publicly a lot, but, like, when I was a kid, like...
You don't have to.
I don't care about an open book. Like,
I don't care about
yeah, I'm like a big old faggot, right? So like I had like My Little Ponies and I would play dress up, and my cousin Sophie had this big duffel bag that she would bring when she came to visit from North Carolina every summer, full of dresses and costume jewelry, and we would play dress up, and I like was doing drag at like 5, right? And I loved it, and it was so much fun. And of course the kids bullied me for that. I'm not unique in that experience, but I have this one memory. It's like a core, like we have like core memories from our childhood. Yeah. I have this core memory. It was Thanksgiving, and my whole family was there. All of my cousins and extended family and everybody. Sophie was there, and we were in my room, and she had this like beautiful dress and this beautiful necklace, and I put it on, and I was so excited to come down. I was like maybe 5 or 6, and I was so excited to come downstairs and show everybody this jewelry and my dress and how pretty I thought I looked or whatever. And my dad like grabbed me and yanked me to the other room. It was like, you cannot and will not wear that. You cannot do that. And that stuck with me, that feeling of like that feeling of like shame and embarrassment and like, I don't understand like why, like Sophie's wearing it. I feel really pretty, and I felt pretty, like, and as I got older and became an adult, my dad and I are very, very close, but I now my understanding of it now is my dad wasn't telling me I shouldn't do it or it was wrong. He didn't want me to get hurt. He was scared that if I did that, I would be made fun of, and I would, he was scared for me, and I think parents, they do the best that they can with what they're given, right?
I think that's so important, because I've had similar conversations with my parents, because they're far from perfect, but like religious, military, conservative. And I had situations where I was like playing with dolls or like watching people do makeup or playing in the makeup, and then met with like reprimandment.
Yeah.
Reprimandment?
Yeah.
And I later talked to my parents about that because I was so closed off and just felt like, okay, this part of me needs to not be like a part of them.
Yeah.
And when they were kind of explaining it, it was the same. It was like, it was actually safety. Like, we didn't understand how to tell you like this. It wasn't like this is wrong. It was like, we don't know how for you to exist like safely.
Yeah, and to like be protective.
Yeah,
you
like
know,
put you in the world thinking you can walk like that and talk like that. And it made me feel like I'm wrong, which I don't think was their intention.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, but obviously there's a lot of parents who like are shit to their kids,
Yes.
right? And like, and we see that with like queer youth. And you work at Ali Forney Center. I work with Ali Forney Center. Like, you know, like we see like our queer youth being subjected to like incredible harm from their families a lot of times.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I also know like for a lot of parents, this is something I'm going to be 38 in a couple weeks, and so, but something I've learned.
38, 16 years. 22.
Yeah. But I started doing drag when I was 20, but as my career, I started like getting paid for it full time at 22. Yeah.
Oh,
But twink. But you know, like I now have an understanding of like my parents are my biggest supporters. They are human beings, and human beings make mistakes. And their intention in that, my dad's intention in that, wasn't to be like, you can't do this, you can't be this, shame, shame, shame. His intention was, I don't know how to protect you from this. I don't know how to protect you from other people.
Exactly.
When you're not
here
in my care, you know? And so I think he was trying to protect me. And, you know, my dad is like the biggest supporter of my career, the biggest supporter of me being non-binary, the biggest supporter of trans rights. And he's like not the most liberal person in the world, you know, but he'll like, he'll throw down. Like he'll throw down. He'll fuck somebody up. I love my dad. I'm a daddy's girl.
You.
Yeah.
I'm a daddy's girl. Yeah. So like growing up, who did you look to like as like an escape? Like for me, it was like Beyonce or like RuPaul.
You're so young.
Well, yours is like Donna Summer. What's her name? Judy Garland.
What's her name? Judy Garland. Do you want to know what's interesting? So when I was a kid,
I do want to know, Marti.
Okay, shut up. Okay, so speaking of my dad, so when I was a kid, my dad loved the birdcage. Like,
okay,
it like gagged. So and my dad loved Rocky Horror. So
your dad?
Family. So I was, but I think that was his like way. I think that was his way of like letting me know it was okay, you know. So I like watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show when I was like 8 years old, and I watched The Birdcage, and I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I was like, oh, yeah. So that gave me like comfort in knowing like I wasn't like, you know.
That's so interesting because especially because you're a little bit older than Lana, but I interviewed Lana and she was talking about she grew up in Texas and had like no like source of like inspiration. She was in such like a isolated,
like a bubble of it,
yeah. And it was really hard for her to like have that kind of safe space. And it seems like you had a family that kind of loved you. You had like access to like queer figures and queer people and even like drag to a certain extent.
Yeah, in like a subtle way, I think, right? And I remember there was this moment, we went to my dad's company picnic. They like held this like company picnic every year or whatever. And when I was really little, there was this guy who he worked with. I don't remember his name, but he had a baseball cap on that had like a rainbow on it. He introduced this guy. He was with his husband. You know, I now know as his husband, but he was like, oh, this is my partner or whatever. And I was really kind of confused by it as a kid. I was like, what does he mean partner? Like, what does that mean? And my mom was like, oh, that is like his, like who he chooses to have as his spouse. And as a kid, I was like, oh, cool. That's like a thing. Cool. That's you know? And then as I started getting a little older, my mom would talk to me a lot about how I reminded her a lot of her best friend growing up. She had a friend growing up. Talking about I feel, I don't know, I haven't talked about this a lot. I feel kind of, anyway. No, I feel like really vulnerable. Like I feel very lucky to have had the parents I have. Like when I was a kid, so my mom's best friend growing up, my mom was born in 1951, you know? And so she grew up in the 50s. Which was obviously a very different time. And she would tell me growing up that I reminded her a lot of Peter and how when they were kids, he always wanted to, like, they would play and my mom would have to play the cowboy and he would have to play like the lady the cowboy rescues, you know? And so my mom would be like, oh, you remind me a lot of Peter. And so Peter in the early 90s when I was a little kid. I don't remember this at all, but my mom has told me about it a lot. He contracted AIDS. And it was a time when a lot of doctors, especially in conservative areas, would not treat. And so my mom helped his parents with his end of care life. And so my mom like really did like such a great and my mom would tell me about him. And I think those little things as a kid, my mom telling me, you remind me of him, and explaining this guy's what his partner means, and my dad showing me things like the bird cage and Rocky Horror was their way of saying like, when you're ready for whatever, like you are supported. Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, but of course, like my childhood did have like traumatic. You know, my brother was like my brother who I don't have a relationship with. When I was in like middle school and high school, he was like in and out of jail and in and out of rehab, and I would like see him like after his drug dealers like beat the shit out of him with baseball bats, and then have to deal with that chaos in the house. And so there was like a lot of chaos in that sense, which was really traumatic. Like dealing with like my mom trying to like, I felt like for a part of my like childhood existence or like high school existence, I don't want to say like abandoned, but I felt parents do the best they can, right, with what they're given. And my mom put a lot of energy into my brother, understandably so, and I felt a little neglected for a little bit. But you know, it's one of the reasons I have like a lot of empathy for my parents now, and also one of the reasons, even though I don't have a relationship with my brother, I have a lot of empathy with him. That like I feel very lucky that I've been able to get sober, and one of the things that keeps me sober is the images of him like with his face bashed in because he couldn't pay his drug dealers, and he's still struggling. You know, so.
That's so real.
Oh, we went deep. I'm sorry. We're supposed to have fun.
No, this honestly, I feel like every episode, I don't know what it is about me, but everyone gets really deep. So I'm like, okay, I'm Oprah. Like, I honestly love it. I like to like hear people's
I don't think I've ever told that story about my brother getting like beat up or whatever. But...
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Safe?
Yeah, I feel safe. You make me feel safe.
I don't want to be like exploiting.
No, you're not. I'm telling it.
Because I'm also, I don't know if entertained is the right word.
You can be entertained. Like, listen, it's okay. So all of these things, like good, bad, traumatic, not traumatic, everything that happens in life, for me, from my perspective, and I don't know if this is the
same. Tell the people, girl.
It's like, it shapes who I am, right? Like,
the shape is fat.
The shape is fat. Hey, iced coffee.
But it shapes who you are.
It shapes who I am, and like I think a lot of times, like I'm sure you experience this also in like this drag activist sort of space. People like look to you for answers or ask or whatever, and I like don't have them. You know, like, but like legit, like I don't have, like, I'm a human being who makes really big mistakes, and I made a lot of really big mistakes in my life, and I'll continue to, and all I can do is like show up and learn and listen and take my life experience and hear what other people's life experience is, and then try to implement that into actionable good. And so yeah, I don't mind telling that story about my brother because maybe it will help somebody else or help me when I try to navigate how to talk to him.
Yeah. No, I think it's really, I think it's a lot of people can relate to those. I think everybody has a brother.
Everybody's got that brother that you're like, what the fuck?
Brother. Where were you in the lineup?
I'm the baby.
Oh, you're the baby?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of middle child.
Oh.
I'm a middle child.
Oh. The brother I don't like is a middle child. No, I like him. I mean, the brother I get along with.
You're like, let me not.
No, I'm the baby. So I have a nephew who's like 5 years younger than me. I have like a great niece and a great nephew. Like I came much later. So my parents had my brother, William, when they were my mom was a senior in college when they had him. And then my mom, oh my God, I'm like spilling all my family's tea.
You don't.
My mom, like, I'm gonna move on. I don't care. Whatever. The world's ending. I'll tell my story. My mom, like, she had to, which now we would, in many states, it would be like considered an abortion. That's like illegal. But she like had a baby die inside of her at like 7 or 8 months pregnant. And had to birth it, and so she decided not to have any more kids after that, and because she was like scared, obviously. Yeah. So then my brother David, the middle one, 10 years after my first brother was born, they decided, you know, we're in our 30s now. This is let's plan on having a baby now. And so they did. And then they said, okay, this worked out. We're good. We have our 2 kids, whatever. And then when my parents were like 36 and 37, they accidentally had me.
Oh my God.
And here I am.
Geriatric pregnancy.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? No, I'm 38. And they would call that a geriatric pregnancy.
You're geriatric.
I'm geriatric.
I'm not.
You're not.
I'm natal.
I'm old, bitch.
So when you're
So I'm the
up,
baby, is the point of that story.
I love it. I'm really curious about the transition from when you moved from, I'm assuming, Maryland to New York. What was that like, and what made you go to New York?
I graduated high school on June 3rd of 2005, and I moved to New York City on June 23rd of 2005 when I was 17.
Are you ready?
I was ready. I was like, get me the fuck out of here.
And you just, like, what was the plan?
I went to AMDA. Where a lot of drag queens have gone to school for musical theater. But my parents were like, you got into all these colleges and you're choosing this like 2-year program. And I was like, yeah, I want to work. I want to work. I want to be a performer. I want to work. I don't want to be bogged down with school. I want to work. But I want to learn what to do for work. So I chose AMDA, and it was really pretty current. Like I moved on June 23rd, which was like Pride Week. So I was 17, wow. And my first week in New York City was Pride 20 years ago. And it was the first time, shut up, Dev, 20 years, shut up. How old are you?
Old enough.
Okay, bitch. So 20 years ago, I moved to New York. But it was like really major. It was the first time I saw a drag queen in person. It was the first time I met a trans person. I don't know. There was like a bunch of them. It was Pride.
You weren't doing drag yet.
No, I just gotten off the bus.
You were just gay.
I was just a little twink. I was just a hole.
Were you fucking? You were fucking down.
Yes. Oh my God.
Were you doing like drugs and stuff yet?
Not yet. I was drinking a lot then, but I wasn't doing drugs. Drugs didn't enter until I got sober at 23. I started doing drugs at like 21. I started doing drugs.
So you only had like 2 years of I was gonna say fun.
I did enough cocaine
in 2 years to be like, I'm good.
Yeah, my drinking and drugging was really bad. Okay, so my drinking and drugging. Okay, so here's 2 embarrassing stories. Okay, so so this is why I'm sober. So these are 2 funny stories. So 3 funny stories. I have 3 that are really embarrassing and why nobody should do drugs. So 1, they're all kind of funny, but also like traumatic. I'll tell. There's a lot of traumatic stories, but I'll tell like the funny ones. So I was at an event one year, and Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child was singing. It was at the Marriott Marquis. And I love Michelle Williams because she has my favorite Destiny's Child verse of all time.
The bridge.
To all of the darkness and sadness, still comes happiness. I surround myself with positive things. I gain prosperity. I'm a survivor. So I love Michelle Williams. So I had done so much cocaine.
I'm scared.
So much. So I was like, you know what's a good idea?
What?
If I get on stage with Michelle Williams.
Oh.
So I got on stage with Michelle Williams. Now, if this was Beyonce, I would have been shot. Like they would have been like, get this faggot off the stage.
You were Lil Mama.
I got up there. So she was lovely. She was lovely. And then afterwards I met her and she was fine. Whatever. So don't do drugs because you'll jump on stage with Destiny's Child. The second one was I was at this event for the Ali Fournier Center.
Oh, shout out.
We love Ali Fournier Center. I'm so happy that I, years after this, was invited to be on their board. But we were doing this event and I was like on the step and repeat. And I pissed myself and knocked over the step and repeat, and it was this whole thing. And Justin Vivian Bond, Justin Bond,
yes. Icon,
Tony nominee, beautiful trans performer, literally my trans. They're my they're like my inspiration. Like I want their career. I love Justin Bond, and they were so lovely that night and like helped me and like told all the photographers like delete all of that, whatever. It really helped me, whatever. Icon. And then the other one was I was at the Tony Awards and I'd done a bunch of cocaine and I was on the red carpet during interviews. I was like doing interviews for YouTube at the time. This was in like 2009, I think. And you know what, like sometimes cocaine makes your tummy gurgle?
I wouldn't know.
Okay, but yeah.
But if I did, yeah.
It's like hard to bottom when you're on cocaine. And so I like, because there's like.
That's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's real. Like cocaine, why do cocaine? Your dick goes limp and then your asshole is runny. Like, what are you doing?
Dare.
What are you doing?
You should be the face of Dare.
Yeah, don't do cocaine because your dick will go limp and your asshole will be runny. Okay?
And I will
do ketamine. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, so on the red cover of the Tonys, and I got the coke shits, and I shit my pants, and I ran into Radio City to like clean myself up. Yeah. And like when I was coming out of the bathroom, I ran smack dab into Angela Lansbury, and I was like, oh my God, I just pooped my pants. And then I had to go back on the red carpet and interview Barbara Cook, who's like a Broadway legend. And and it was just, so anyways.
Things are dropping.
So I'm sober now.
Because you don't know how to control
because
your
I
bowels.
shit my pants in front of Angela Lansbury. I'm sober now. Yeah.
I did not expect for this to be like so shitty.
Shit. Wait, do you hate this interview?
No, shitty in this.
Oh, yeah.
This is like the best interview ever. You're also answering all my questions without me needing to.
Oh my God, I can't get back around. There we go. Okay.
So we talked about, now we're in sobriety, which I guess we've kind of skipped a few things.
No,
but
go back.
I like it. No, I like it. As a sober diva who performs, I find it very difficult, like, not actually that difficult, annoying, navigating nightlife now. Like, being in party spaces or being in front of just like situations I feel like people start projecting onto me, or like wanting to argue with me. Like, things just feel
Who's
like...
arguing with you?
No, my God,
about what? What are they arguing about? Who's arguing
Honestly,
with you?
I think it's like people start doing coke and then they come back ready to fight.
Send them to me.
No.
If you're fighting Dev Doe, you're going to have to get through me, okay? If you get... This is on my boot. If
I love a fight.
No, you love a fight, but let me tell you, if you fuck with my girl Dev Doe, you will feel the wrath of the Angela Lansbury shitter, okay?
She will shit all over you.
I will shit all over you.
But no, when you got sober, what was it like? Did people switch up? Did you like lose friends? How did that?
Yes.
Process? Well, yes.
Why, yes. I got sober really young. I got sober when I was 23, and I had started working in nightlife, like I said, like a year before. And my drinking also, so like I got fired from this one club because the manager wouldn't give me cocaine. And so I took a pint glass and I filled it to the brim with vodka, like nothing else, no ice, anything. And I downed it. And then I went into a blackout and I woke up in my childhood bed the next day. And I have no idea how I got there.
Wait, okay.
And,
so... Why were we doing that? Why do you know why you were?
Because I started drinking when I was like 14 or 15. Like I just haven't been able, like, you know, and when you're in high school and other people are drinking like at rages and stuff, it seems like normal. But then when you get like a little older, you're like, oh, this isn't like what everybody else does.
Yeah, you're
you
like,
know?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Just one glass?
Yeah. So that's like what my drinking was like, you know, like waking up in my childhood bed 3 hours away. Like, how did I get there? My mom was like, oh, you called from the bus stop at like 5 a.m. and we picked you up and you were in drag. It was really weird. Are you okay? Yeah.
That's like impressive though, to be honest.
I don't know how it happened, but like, you know, so I started booking all these like weekly gigs and it happened like very quick. It was like at a time in nightlife where like Drag Race wasn't really like the finale. I think there was like 2 or 3 seasons at the time. And so it wasn't like the finale. There was only like a handful of venues that even booked drag artists. There was only a handful of people who worked full time as a drag queen. Like it wasn't like it is now. And so I, for whatever reason and I looked, I didn't wear wigs. I didn't wear pads. I barely had a stitch. I was like so fucking busted and ugly. You can Google it. I was so ugly.
I've seen it.
She was so busted and so ugly. Yeah, baby. Yes, it was yesterday. And it was. I looked like fucking shit. And I don't like if I looked at that, I'd be like, I'm not booking that booger ass bitch. Like she looked like who's booking that?
Does that give you empathy for other people though?
I book people. Everybody's on a journey. All drag is valid.
I honestly only book pretty people.
Yeah, all drag is valid, I guess. So I
just don't have to book it.
You just don't have to book it. But I was a mess. So anyway, so I had booked all these gigs and then had like gotten fired from a lot of gigs like very quickly because of that. And so then I had one weekly show left. I was making $125 a week. That was it. My roommate covered my bills for me. I got a job like as a host at a restaurant, but I only committed to 1 4-hour shift a week. And I would just like, I don't know, any money I had would go to like drinking and I would steal your drugs, whatever. So then like all of my friends were like, very real and honest with me, and they're like, we love you so much.
Performers or like
yeah, you know Marty Thomas, and he's like a singer. Marissa Rosen, Jarvis, Darrell.
Love Jarvis and her little dresses.
Jarvis is a good friend of mine. We've been friends forever. Like Jarvis was part of this group. They all were like, we love you so much, but if like you keep this up, we can't be around you. Like you're like you need help. You need help. You know. And I was like, what? Like, fuck off, you know? But then, like, just shit really hit the fan, and I went into a 6-day blackout where I don't remember 6 days of my life. And I was like, fuck, I think I need to be sober. And so I've been sober ever since.
Oh my God. Yeah. You're, like, really remarkable. You know that. No, you are, bitch. It's, like, incredible to think. Like, I can sit and you're, like, the perfect elder.
For God's sakes.
So when you became sober, you made it sound like it's the easiest thing in the world.
No, well, with nightlife. You had asked about nightlife. Like, I mean, it was difficult. Those first, first year was really difficult because there was like one time I like accidentally picked up a glass that wasn't mine, and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? And then there was one time, like I was like a psychopath, and there was one time like I asked for like a virgin mojito, and I tasted it, and I thought it was a real mojito, but it wasn't, and I threw the glass against the wall of the bar, and it shattered. And they were like, girl, it's a virgin, calm down.
Someone gave me a virgin like champagne, and I was having an existential crisis.
Fully convinced that it's real.
I started feeling drunk. I was like internally was like trying to be chill in front of everyone because they were so proud of it, and I was like, I need to leave. Like I feel so uncomfortable. Like,
it's wild, right?
Yeah, and it's like, girl, it's really not that big of a deal. But even if it was like if I accidentally did, but it was just like I guess. I'm like
it makes you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so scared. That was so scary for me. And then one time, a close friend of mine accidentally gave me a shot with tequila in it, and it touched my tongue, and I spit
it out. Yeah.
Fast, and I like almost started crying. I was on stage.
My God.
I was like, oh my God, girl, there's tequila in there, and I like was trying to keep hosting. I said, I can't. I have to go to the bathroom. And I like washed my mouth. I was so dramatic.
I literally did that. There was this bar called Mix Lounge in Astoria that I worked at, and that's where I grabbed like the drink by accident. I was on stage, and I spit it out, and I walked off stage and went in the kitchen at the spot, and I was sobbing and called my sponsor, and I was just like, and he was like, you didn't intentionally drink, you spit it out, you're fine, like don't stress. But like, but that means you care about it, and you care about your sobriety. But yeah, and like of course there's gonna be people who like question like, well, why don't you drink, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, it's not really your business. It's not really your business. And when people say like, when people are like, oh, that must be so boring. No, I have a very full, active, energized, beautiful life because I'm sober. Everything I have in my life is because I'm sober. Like
I wake up earlier now.
Sorry, I was late today. Sorry. But you know, like everything I have in my life is because I'm sober. You know,
your life changed.
My life changed. Yeah.
Oh my God, I am so overwhelmed with how many questions I could ask you right now. But I really want to get into briefly your political activism piece. I think like as a drag performer, it is so important that we're like have an opinion on something and have like some level of knowledge. And I think you go above and beyond there and really like make a step in like making change and making space. And I've seen firsthand like the ramblings and the passions of a lit, fiery Marti with an idea in your heart. So where does that come from, and like how have you navigated that space? Because I know when I first started, for me it was like, when I get the mic, I'm going to talk about black trans women. And then I still do, but I learned like there's like a way to like influence a room without necessarily like preaching to everyone and killing the vibe. How have you navigated that?
So politics and drag, I think is really important. But I think, you know, we don't have all the answers. And I think a lot of times when people in the activism space, like you as a trans activist and somebody who works at Le Fournet or, you know, myself or whoever, I think people look to us for the answers and we don't always have them, right? And so making sure that we're not like on a soapbox at our shows is important, but also making sure we're telling people crucial information is also important. So I try to find a way of like, I consider myself a comedy queen.
You're very funny.
I consider myself a comedy queen, you know, but so I like to be lighthearted and give people an escape from the chaos of the world. There's so much happening right now, right? Like the fucking National Guard is in LA. Girl. There's a genocide in Gaza. There's, you know, the eradication of trans people. Like people are being sent to El Salvador. Like there's so much happening. Yeah. And so people come to our shows as an escape. And I want to give them that space to escape, but also to let them know like, hey, like this is what's going on and this is how you can, you know, whatever. So I insert it into my shows, which is how I got started in politics to begin with. I was like, when Trump first like came down the escalator and said a bunch of racist bullshit in 2015 or whatever, I made a joke about it on stage and was making light of it while also talking about the seriousness of it. And the bar owner got very upset. I would alienate straight clientele, and I'm like, well, this is a queer space, so fuck off.
Right. And like, what the fuck?
Like, this is for queer people. We love straight allies, but this is not a safe space for them. It is a safe space for us, and they are coming into our environment, and we're supposed to like mind our P's and Q's when they're in their spaces, so they can mind theirs when they're in ours. And he was saying, well, as a voter, blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, so you're voting against our interests. The bar is since closed, but he owns other bars. And he also called Monet Exchange the N-word. And people seem to forget that, but they still go. He owns Mickey Spillane's and DBL. And I had learned about the Monet told me about that incident after I'd quit. Had I known, I obviously would not have worked at this establishment. She went public with it then. But he owns DBL and Mickey Spillane's, and people seem to love a $4 margarita more than standing up for their black siblings or their trans siblings. And I think that shows the cis whiteness of the queer community in a lot of ways, of like, you'd rather a $4 margarita than standing up for what's right. So on that night, I handed him the microphone and I said, I cannot and will not work for you. And I left. And that's when I had that kind of light bulb moment of like, what the fuck am I doing? I have a microphone in my hand. What am I doing with it? What am I doing with this microphone in this space? And that's when I started getting like really, really political. I had already worked with Ali Fournay and Hedrick Martin and these organizations that I believed in, but in the space of like, well, these are causes that I believe in that are important. And then it shifted to like, these are causes I believe in that are important, but what are we doing legislatively about it? And that's when I like shifted into politics.
I am so obsessed with you and your shift into politics, and I think we're gonna need another Marti episode.
Let's do it.
We have barely scratched.
And I'll show up on time. I'm so sorry.
Girl, it's okay. It's okay. I didn't expect you to be on time, but we have barely scratched the surface. We are definitely gonna have you back because there is so much more to you. You're such an inspiration to me. I would not have the career I have today without you. Client at Hush is like one of the reasons I am respected and seen in the scene. So you are such a huge inspiration and important figure for me. So thank you so much.
I love you, Deb.
Where can people find you?
The internet. I don't know. On my socials, Marti.
We'll put it up.
Marti G. Cummings.
Marti G. Cummings.
Yeah.
And you can find me the next time you see me. Bye.